Welcome back to the Inside Man podcast. Today we are diving into a topic that I know hits home for many of you guys. If you think self-care is selfish, you've been lied to. And if you're a man who prides yourself, like me, grinding it out for the family, your business, your team, but you're secretly running on fumes, you need this episode because here's the reality. Neglecting yourself isn't a sacrifice, it's sabotage. And when you keep giving without filling your own cup, it's only a matter of time before resentment starts building, burnout, and breakdown start showing up. But in the end, you're gonna see that self-care isn't soft. So here's what we're gonna be covering today. First, we're gonna unpack the lie that we were taught about sacrifice and self-worth. Then we're gonna redefine what self-care actually is and what it isn't. And then finally, I'm going to give you 5 tactical habits that you can put into play immediately to build strength, energy, focus, presence, all without guilt and sacrificing yourself. So it's not soft, self-care, friends. It's strategic. It's leadership. It's legacy. So the lie we were taught is that most of us grew up being told that if we gave more, if we did more, we're worth more, right? More doing, more output, more worth. See, sacrifice was a badge of honor, being the provider, taking care of everyone else first, but putting yourself last. Sometimes paying yourself last. Like, just notice, do you put yourself last? See, self-care is not selfish. Putting yourself first to take care of you so that you can take care of others is one perspective. But if you're like selfish and you're taking from people, obviously that's not what this is, but it gets clouded and collapsed. And what happened is we built businesses, we provided for our families, we kept giving, but inside we started to crumble. I had it all, look good on the outside, big, long driveways, fast cars, high apartments in the penthouse, all the toys and stuff. But inside I was just bankrupt. And I started to crumble. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. Sacrifice without replenishment is unsustainable. You see, if you're sitting there and you're going, man, the way I'm working, the way I'm caring for myself, the way I'm rolling, ask yourself, is this really sustainable? See, burnout, resentment, and disconnection are just simple hidden costs of playing a martyr. Oh man, if you want to look up something fun, I'm going to do an episode on the Cartman drama triangle. It's where there's the persecutor, that's the person that causes the upset in the space. Then there's the victim, and then there's the rescuer. See, I was all three. I would cause an upset, I would cause, breakdowns around me at work and at home. Then I'd be like, poor me, honey, look at this. I got to deal with all this stuff, victim. And then it's like, you know what? If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Here we go to save the day. And it was like I was going around in this circle of dysfunction called persecute, victim, rescue, all so I didn't have to put my attention on myself. That was what was underneath it all. So I'm sharing this with you. I share my own story here just because I've lived in this world. And if you're living in it, here's the personal example that changed my life. So I was coming up from Morristown. I was 24 years old. Coming from Alice's, she had Sace Investment. She had a tanning salon. I sold her advertising, and then she became my sage, my spiritual mother. There is no word for who she is to me, and still is to this day. I was driving home from Route 80 in Wayne, New Jersey, and I left the house at 5:30 in the morning, before the sun came up, before my family was even awake. And by 8 a.m., I'm already toast and I'm grinding since dawn. And I go till like 8 o'clock at night. And that night, I really finally dragged myself home. I realized something gut-wrenching. I didn't see or talk to my wife all day. Now, she gave me the space. She knew I was working hard and the whole thing, but I wasn't connected and I was just grinding. And the only time we crossed paths with my wife was at the end of the night. And I was too exhausted to give anything to her but a blank stare. Meanwhile, I gave 200% to my clients and I left it all out on the court for them, poured out my best ideas, my best energy, my very best, my soul into everything to make sure that they succeeded. And then it hit me. Here's my family. They're the most important thing to me. Yes, my clients are too. Um, and my son and my wife, they're my legacy. They're like, my rocks. And yet I was giving them leftovers, scraps of what was left over after everybody else got the best of who I am. And that was my aha moment. I needed to realize that the same commitment, the same intensity, the same excellence that I gave my clients, I had to really establish giving that to my family. Because what's the point of winning in business, my brothers and sisters, if we're losing the people that we love most, right? It's so interesting how sometimes we treat the people that we love most the poorest, and that's just not acceptable. So you can't be the rock for everyone if you're crumbling inside. In other words, another way to say it is you can't give away something that you're not giving to yourself. That's a very important thing. You can't give away something that you're not giving to yourself, right? And that's when I begin to question everything I thought I knew about self-care. Because maybe it wasn't a weakness. Maybe it wasn't selfish. Maybe it was the very thing that would allow me to show up as the man I wanted to be for my family, my business, and really leaving myself to last, putting myself first, and not holding that as a selfish thing. So what self-care actually is and what it isn't. So let's set the record straight. Self-care is not bubble baths and green juice, unless that's your thing. It's my thing. I like, taking baths. Yeah, I know. Take that picture out of your mind. But it's cool. Like my wife gives me the Epsom salt baths. I feel great. Your muscles feel so good. And, but it's not that, right? It's not spa days. I love spa days with my wife. We go to Sivana. By the way, check this couple's gig out. It's at Sivana, my hometown favorite here in Carefree, Arizona. You're going to love it. You're welcome to come. You're invited if you're on this podcast. Please reach out to me. We're putting together 10 of the finest fun couples, and we're going to work for a couple of days. So in the middle of the desert in December. It's a nice way to end the year and invent the new year, not resolution wise, but actually sitting back in December and figuring it all out and having a plan by the time you hit January 1. Pretty cool. And it really is on the foundation of self-care. And it's a structure. Here's what self-care really is. It's a structure. It's boundaries. It's sleep. It's stillness. It's having the courage to say the hard things. Self-care is like expressing yourself, not from anger. And my wife said, Gary, you go from 0 to 100 like that. I go, I know, honey, I hover at 80 or 90. And like, if you're hovering and you're ready to pop off at any one moment, that's a great indicator to note that, you got to start putting in and give yourself some space. Saying no to a toxic client, like saying no, you can't do that, or disengaging from a toxic client. That's an opportunity. And by the way, it's so interesting. Like if you're in fear and scarcity, you're not doing that, right? But if you stand in abundance and you're sitting there and you go, hey, this client is just beating the pulp out of me. And it's not a two-way street. Hey, I can take some strong communication, but if you feel like you could never win with somebody, it's like, why continue? I see, client relationships as a partnership. I bring 100% of me, you bring 100% of you. Together, we're going to make magic happen, right? And, another example of self-care would be leave your phone outside the bedroom. Like imagine, don't take it, take it to bed at night. By the way, all the EFMs, all the blue light, that keeps you up at night. So if you have trouble sleeping, this is a great thing. But then maybe you'll have like something intimate to be connected to, like talk to your partner or like read a book or whatever it might be. The other thing it's about blocking time off to train, pray, breathe, meditate, all the things that you have no time for. But if you just took a few minutes and you felt, oh, this is a good one, stretching. I started stretching. I'm like, why didn't I stretch? Because I just took golf back up after my injury, hit the ball great, but I need to stretch before, I could just I never stretched before or after any athletic event. My body just responded. Now, when I do it, oh my God, it feels so good. And then my mindset is good. And then I'm clear. And then I could be focused on the course and stuff. And it's amazing how you produce results just by stretching. That changed everything. So here's the masculine inside man reframe. self-care isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's how to make sure you keep showing up. It's leadership, it's legacy. Because when you're clear, rested, and aligned, the people around you get the best version of you. And when you neglect yourself, they get the leftovers, the scraps. And you know what? They deserve better than that. So I'm going to give you 5 daily habits for high performing, high achievers that you can make this practical. Okay. So here's 5 good examples of this. The first one is move your body before you move your screen. Don't let email notifications set your day. Claim your energy first. Take 15 minutes. You could do this even if you have to get up 15 minutes early. And you don't, because you're getting up so early anyway. Just get up and dedicate 15 minutes. Enlightenment, education, and or like exercise. Enlighten, education, or exercise. And just stretch if it is. Walk for 15 minutes, whatever, before you jump on a screen. Because the minute you jump on a screen, it's a striper on a lure, and you're sucked in, and your energy and your nervous system is all whacked, right? By the way, we're also going to have Sachin Patel there. There's this thing that I didn't know when I was in the throes of this. There's the sympathetic fight or flight, and there's the parasympathetic. When you're in the parasympathetic state where you're not in fight or flight, your body's at rest throughout the day, so you can go longer, faster, and harder. This resets that parasympathetic. One way to reset a parasympathetic and stay in a parasympathetic state. You're going to fuel your energy, not just your calendar. Eat, sleep, hydrate, like your future depends on it, because it does. I'm going to the Winter Olympics, a dream come true, in Italy this winter. And right now, those athletes, you know what they're doing? They're working out. They're taking care of themselves. You know, it's their job, obviously, and we have a full-time job. I get it. But I want you to begin as a high-achieving entrepreneur. I want you to begin to relate to yourself like an Olympic athlete. And that 1/100th of a second is the difference between bronze and gold, or silver and gold. And if you tend to yourself and get that extra second, what might happen to you? Eating, sleeping, hydrating, scheduling your time to when you're going to bed. These things are huge, simple, but sometimes people just need to tell you what to do. That's what I'm doing. I'm telling you what to do. I usually don't tell you what to do. Please do move your body before your screen, or fuel your energy, not just your calendar. Here's another one: self-expression. Say what's true for you, even though it's really hard. You don't have to be angry and lash out at people. But if something doesn't work for you, I don't know about you, but I would be like, oh, if I say that, that's going to blow that thing up. And I don't want to blow that thing up, right? So just say what's true for you. And stop swallowing your truth to keep peace. You know, I'm all about peace as a currency, and I think it's really valuable. But you know, you never know how people respond. But like, we don't always stand for what's true for us. And you can say anything as long as you say it in a way that is not going to just lash out and have rage. Because when I did it in rage, it didn't work. But I said, honey, can I share something with you that I'm scared to share with you? By the way, it sets up the listening for the person. Can I share something with you that's really hard for me to share? I'm afraid how you're going to respond. And then setting that listening up. And then I share what it is that I've been stuffing down. And you even say that, I've been stuffing this down. And I really need to say it because I want to be close to you, and it's just creating separation. So that would be a great self-care. And then schedule solitude like you would your finest client meeting. Put time in your calendar. Block out times where you're just going to do nothing. Create space for yourself. And I started by adding a half hour of extra space because I was like packed from start to finish. Adding a half hour felt like an eternity. Then it became an hour. Then it became 2 hours. Then it became 4 hours. I was working from 11 to 3 at the end of it all. And by the way, we fill time. We don't even know we're doing it. There's this thing called Parkinson's law, where you ever notice you don't have time and you don't have money? Your expenses rise to meet your new levels of income, and you fill time to meet the deadline. So that's why we end up not having time and money. But if you start structuring your schedule, Your best ideas and your decisions are going to come from this stillness. I know I'm not even asking you to meditate. I'm just asking you to like do nothing. Like maybe it's just sit at your desk and just close your eyes for a few minutes. Or going for a walk is doing something, but just be still. Sit on a park bench and watch the world go by. You would never leave time for that for yourself. These are breakthroughs. Here's another one that is game changing. I start every meeting that I have on a reoccurring basis for projects. Everybody shares one win, one quick win. Because what happens is and it's celebrating wins. Because I don't know about you, I would like have the best quarter ever, and I'd be like, next, let's go. We got to get, and like that was not nurturing. And then I would be like living in the only thing that happens to me is people bring problems to me all day long, and all I am is a problem solver all damn day long. And so I didn't see the joy, I didn't see the wins, and so now we just start very quickly. And here's the other thing: if like a lot of people will dump problems on you if you're there listening to it. They actually have to think up the wins, and it actually like causes them to look at the positive side of actually what's happening, even if you're going through a hard phase. So pause to acknowledge your progress. Otherwise, life becomes just this one nasty grind. So here's the deal. My challenge to you: pick one of these habits and practice it for the next 7 days. You got 5 of those. You can rewind if you need them. Not all 5, just one. Test, just do one, test it, and notice what happens in your energy, your patience, and your clarity. Listen, here's the bottom line. The man who refuses to take care of himself eventually becomes the burden to people who he loves. The man who honors himself becomes a gift to those people. Self-care is not selfish, and it's definitely not soft, my brothers and sisters. This is the warrior strategy to stay in the fight without losing your soul. You can't pour from an empty cup. And when you fill yours first, you overflow into your family, your business, and your legacy. Listen, if you're listening to this and you're stretched thin, don't try to white knuckle it through it. Join the Inside Man community. Just jump on my website, GaryKady.com, get on my calendar. And what we'll do is we'll talk about it and we'll create something really cool for you so that you have more structure and you start living and practicing these principles. And if you're an entrepreneur doing $500,000 or plus, jump in to this. Check this couples event out. It's at Sivana. We go to work on all the areas: wealth, health, time, business, parenting, or leadership, one of the two, whichever is appropriate for you. And we get down to business, and we're going to do it in a ropes course as well. So it's experiential learning. I love doing live events. I'm badass at it. You want to be there with me. It'll be a tons of fun. It's a great way to close the year out and a killer way to have 2026 be your best year yet. I'll see you next week.